Second. Great, I think we are officially live, so let me close this down and get us started. Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Sadlier School Live. I've brought back the wonderful and amazing Dr. Matthew Beyranevand. Hello, Matthew.
Hello, how are you doing, Cam?
Good, it's so nice to be with you a second time this week here on the live show, so I appreciate you coming out here to do this with me.
Well, I really appreciate it as well. This is something that I really enjoy, this kind of daily routine or a couple of times a week with you, being able to connect not only with you, but with all the parents and people that are fans of Sadlier, because there's a lot going on right now with parents and becoming teachers. And the more that we can share and inform people, the better off they are going to be during these difficult times right now.
Yeah, I completely agree. And so I am just so grateful that you're here supporting us with this and helping us to just open a dialogue with people so that we can build a community where people feel like they're getting the resources they need, they're getting the support, and they have this community of friends that they can connect with right now while we are trying to also disconnect. So today you are going to be walking us through, what was it again?
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about what happened yesterday for those people who had seen the master class. So we had that master class that started yesterday afternoon. And Cam, I think you're going to be dropping some links to that. And yes. I wanted to share a little bit about exactly what happened in that master class, summarizing some of the big ideas from it. And then from there, what we're going to do is kind of give some suggestion for parents and teachers today. And we're going to end by leading up to a little bit of a preview of the second half of the masterclass that's coming up in about 1 hour.
I love it. Let's do it.
So yesterday in the masterclass, the title of it was called, Why Do We Learn Math? And answering the question that students often ask, when am I ever going to use this? And so I want to take this opportunity for those people that didn't get a chance to see it to share a few of the ideas. And we often think that students say the phrase, when am I ever going to use this? They tie it to, well, let's see how we can use it in the real world. And sometimes that's appropriate, but other times it's not. And what I mean by that is that students aren't actually saying, when am I ever going to use this? What they're actually saying is, why is this so boring? Or why am I not authentically engaged? And I ended up with 6 suggestions that I made to both parents, teachers, and administrators about things that we can do to promote the idea of learning math in a joyful manner, having a positive effect on it. So here they are. The first thing, and this is very important for parents to think about, as you're doing your work at home with your children, focusing for math in particular more on conceptual understanding and a little bit less on the procedural fluency. And what I mean by that is trying to understand why the math is the way that it is and trying to apply it, and less on those worksheets and repetitive nature of doing 40 of the exact same problem. Second is that children love to play. That is what they enjoy doing. We need to try to focus more activities on play. So when we have our school time with our children at home right now, it needs to be structured, absolutely. And most of the time it needs to be done at a desk or a table, but you can do a lot of learning while playing. And the third thing is the idea of games. There are so many excellent games out there that promote the ideas of joyful mathematics and conceptual understanding. And we talked about a few of them yesterday, and I'm actually going to be showing a few more of them this afternoon. But just a quick look at some of my favorites. Albert's Insomnia, Tiny Polka Dot. Those 2 are great. Mastermind is another one, and Prime Climb. So those are some games that you can play where kids are having a good time while they're also developing some of those mathematical skills. The fourth thing is authentic interest. And what I mean by this is that we sometimes, as both parents and teachers, try to force upon them why something is interesting, such as you look at a math problem and there's a ladder up against the roof of the side there, and then because of that, well, let's use real world to say, here's the Pythagorean theorem to find out the length of the ladder based on the side lengths of this triangle. That's not what get kids interested and excited. Things like which one doesn't belong, or something like a good class starter there, where is just posing a picture and saying, what do you notice? What do you wonder? Things like that can get kids interested with a low barrier of entry, but yet a high ceiling for what you can really do with them. The fifth thing is the growth mindset. And my one big piece of advice from yesterday for families is to really think about how we praise our students, focusing more on the not necessarily their results, but on their effort. Praising effort is so important. And also, if you're a parent that doesn't like mathematics, that's okay. Not everybody has to love math, but just ask that you don't share those beliefs with your children. Because if your children see that their role model, their mom or their dad or their caregiver, they don't love mathematics, well, then why should I do that? So we ask you just to hold back on that. And then the last thing is the passion. Show your energy and enthusiasm for mathematics. Again, children take the lead of their parents and their teachers. If they are authentically excited for something, great. Their children probably will be too. So that's a quick summary of a few of the things that we talked about yesterday in the masterclass. But what I want to talk about today for a few minutes has to do with something that I'm hearing from a lot of concerned parents about. And that is the idea of grades. Because right now, as most school districts are closed, we're really unsure about how grades, both term grades and test grades, are going to be affected both for this current term or trimester and through the end of the year. What's going to happen? And what I would ask of you is really not to worry about that, especially as a parent. The best thing that you can do is just focusing on the learning. The assessments, the grades, those things, those are not things that you really should be worrying about, nor should your child be worrying about. There's enough distractions going on in the world today that they should not be focusing on that. So I ask that you don't make a big deal about it. And Cam's going to drop a link into our Facebook chat of a great article about grades called Grades Are for Onions, written by another friend of Sadlier, Dr. Chris Brownell. So I would encourage you to take a look at that article if you're interested in learning more about grades and grading. And finally, if you are available and interested, I will be holding the second half of the masterclass at 4 o'clock Eastern time, 1 o'clock Pacific time. Yesterday, as I said, was why do we learn math? Today is a shift about how we can observe math classes, both at the elementary and the middle school level, and determining what makes a math class or a math lesson excellent. What are those characteristics? We're going to develop them both from my own experience as well as the research of other practitioners to find out what makes a great math lesson. And then we're going to do some activities together where we're going to actually go in and watch a few brief lessons and see what the students are doing and also what the teachers are doing. And there's some great downloadables available during that masterclass created by the incredible Dr. Jeff Todd, who's had some suggestions and a rubric for making math lessons great. And this is appropriate for parents, for teachers, but especially for building leaders, those who may not necessarily know what makes a math lesson great. So there is a lot of exciting things going on with Sadlier, both here in the live Facebook that we're doing every day at 3 o'clock Eastern, 12 o'clock Pacific, and also the masterclass that started yesterday and will be ending today. So really good things going on.
And I just have to follow up by saying the energy that happened in yesterday's masterclass was just so joyful and compelling, and the way that people were communicating and talking in the chat just really made a lot of us feel connected, and it gave us that little moment of time to shut down what's going on in the outside world and really get geeky about math. And I really appreciate what you did with going on there and creating an environment for all of us like that. And I know today is going to be just as amazing. And as you mentioned, I dropped the link to that in the chat on the Facebook Live. I'll also drop these links into the chat here on Zoom for the few of you that are on the back side of Zoom, and you guys could access those as well. So let me get that for you.
Good. And while you do that, Cam, I want to just follow up on a point that you made about that energy that you said. And part of it, I think, is the energy that I have because I am an enthusiastic math educator. But also, I was really feeding off the energy of all the participants in that master class yesterday. We had about 350 people online for the entire hour, throwing questions, comments, resources, suggestions, and seeing all of that happen really got me going even more. And I felt like by the end of it, I was exhausted, but in a great way. So it was a combination. I think I'll take that compliment. Thank you. But also the energy and enthusiasm of everybody on there really got me excited as well. So I'm looking forward to that same energy coming up in a little while and building upon what we started yesterday.
Yeah, and if you happened to be a part of that class yesterday, we're actually going to hop on a little early and go over some of the questions that we didn't get to yesterday. So if you come on 5 to 10 minutes early, you'll be able to participate in that. And then we'll jump into class closer to 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 Pacific. So we can't wait to see all you there. And until then, bye.
Bye-bye now.